Welcome to Never Shut Up. It's your boy Marcellus Wiley. Yup, in my white tee, looking crispy over here right now. Y'all remember y'all growing up, y'all had them t-shirts and then you get a honeycomb box or something and you get some letters and you iron it on. Well, this ain't that and that ain't this, but that used to be my goals growing up, like to get the right letters and to iron that on and get all into it, man. Feeling good right now. Had one of them nights. I'm gonna tell y'all about it, but you know how we start off every single show with, what's up with that dude? Well, let's start here. After the show yesterday, I had a Zoom meeting. Those Zoom meetings are always reckless and always random. Somebody always doing something. Like if you got more than 3 people in there, just every now and then just check on them other people. Because you know a lot of times you get caught up in just listening. Then I just look every now and then. I'm like, dog, these people ain't paying no damn attention. Like it's just everybody doing their own thing. This whole remote working, remote learning stuff just silly. People just be on theirs. And then they look up like, yeah, and they catch the beat. They just keep the flow going. And I did the same thing. So I had rehab literally while I was on the Zoom with a tequila brand. And then people were like, yo, mute your damn mic, because they hear people in the background say, no, that's tight. No, stretch it out. I was like, what? So I was participating in the Zoom as well. Interesting. What's y'all favorite tequila? Because, you know, to me, my favorite alcohol is alcohol. People like dark and light. I'll be like, alcohol. Like, what do you mean? Like, I ain't that damn picky as long as I get the effect and the flavor. But what's y'all favorite tequila? Want to see if it matches who I'm talking to right now. Other than that, same old itty bitty, you know them. They running the world. So we had to go take them to dance class, take them to taekwondo. My son will whoop your son's ass, right? I'm just telling y'all right now, my son is special in taekwondo. He's more locked into that, I think, than even football. And he's locked into football. But when he gets to taekwondo, I think it's the discipline, it's the mystique of the art that he's learning, and there's so much progression. You can see on the wall all the different color belts and how you can graduate. And plus, it's just something different when you go to class and you're 7 and your instructor's name is Master Kim. And he looks and acts just like the stereotype of what you think Master Kim is. It's like Miyagi for real. And he ain't playing, but he's a gentle spirit. About 70 years old, whoop your ass, just whip you. I can just see it. Like, it's insane. So I'm loving that. Other than that, LA is tripping. Random rain. I don't know where this rain coming from. Like, we got Florida rain clouds in LA. We've never had that. LA's always been a spot where you'd be like, oh, look at those clouds over there. In about 2 hours, it's going to rain, and it's going to rain for a day or two. Now, it'd be like one little baby cloud. They just be riding around the city, and you'd be like, oh, snap, he just dropping rain everywhere, and that's what's happening right now. I literally left my house. It was sunny, dry. Drove 5 minutes, and it was raining. It was one dusty cloud right there. So, LA, this whole global warming stuff, read more than the headlines. I think it's real. All right, y'all, let's talk about something that's more than the headlines, because the headlines right now are saying Roger Goodell acknowledges the possibility that there won't be an extension of his contract. But we're going to read beyond those headlines, right? So last month, ESPN reported that the NFL was close to an extension with Goodell, but he was asked about the update, Lamar Jackson style, before the contract, right? Like, what's going on with your deal? What's going on? And on Thursday, he offered some vague and ominous remarks. Oh, we have talked about an extension, and we'll work towards that. If that's possible, then great. If not, I've been really fortunate to be in this job. I loved every day of it. I would love every day that I'm in it, but I don't really think about the tenure. I think about the progress and the important challenges we have ahead. Oh my. My first thought was like, Goodell, boy, he know the art of negotiation. Act like you don't give a damn, right? Sell yourself high, and if they can't meet that number, I don't give a damn. I got other options. Or it was amazing working with you up to this point. And that was my first thought. But then I was like, Goodell usually doesn't do this in the midst of contract extensions. And more importantly, is the NFL and this ownership group starting to think that maybe the NFL is on autopilot, right? Sometimes you think you're just too big to fail, and the NFL has been through its issues, its scandals, right? Y'all remember the Kaepernick and the whole racial equality phase. You remember what they went through with the concussions and CTE, and they were hiding the evidence and their education on it. We went through that. You went through the players and the Retirement Association, and all these things are still ongoing, but they put the fire out, is what I'm saying. But now in this situation, are the NFL owners looking at Goodell like, yo, was he taking pay cuts and making only $44 million or something? And they also gave up their tax-exempt status, which was amazing. It was so many people in this world didn't know that the NFL was a charity. Y'all hear me? A charity. And that's why they had to publicize how much he was making as the commissioner. But now, since they're not tax-exempt, now they could just keep it under wraps. They don't have to tell any of us how much he makes. And I wonder how that's looking from their perspective in this contract negotiation. Little game of chicken here, little game of poker here as we're seeing it play out right before our very eyes. So his comments, you know, it's basically suggesting there's some issues that need to be resolved. I wonder what those issues could be. Whatever they are, they must be deal killers, because this is not necessarily the confidence of somebody who's done such an amazing job, listen to me, in growing the game and making sure everybody's eating. Y'all can say what y'all want about Goodell, and usually you do. Y'all can boo the man all you want. You can call him cornbread and a hustler just because he's doing all these handshakes and doesn't always answer to what you feel he should do righteously. But in terms of that bottom line, yay! I remember my agent told me that when I got my deal in San Diego, the cap was like $29 million or something crazy, something super low. And now it's what, north of 200 million? It's right around 200 million. So the point of it is he has grown this game amidst issues, adversity, and struggles. No matter what, it hasn't stopped Goodell growing this game. My question is, do you guys want Roger Goodell to continue to be the commissioner? This is one of those policy versus personality conversations. We're going to have that in our presidential election as well, because a lot of people don't like Roger Goodell, the personality, but you can't hate on what he's done to that bottom line, to the profits and his policies. Coming up next on Never Shut Up, oh man, these guys in New York are so starstruck. Those Jets are playing with a living legend. Yes, Aaron Rodgers is in the building. And when Aaron Rodgers shows up, oh, it's time to show out and to be starstruck. Let's talk about the effect of playing with a living legend. I've been there before. Next on Never Shut Up on Brinks TV and Reach TV. Welcome back to Never Shut Up. It's your boy Marcellus. Wiley, thanking you for your viewership on Brinks TV and your membership to YouTube, Wiley's World. Man, these young Jet players, woo! They thought they were flying high before, but Aaron Rodgers has landed in New York, and now these players are starstruck by their new teammate, the living legend Aaron Rodgers himself. Let's talk about it. After a week of getting to know him and seeing him out there, the players are just admitting it. Like, they're just peeling back the layers, telling reporters, hey, we can't lie. We're in awe of Aaron Rodgers. And it's interesting because Aaron Rodgers is participating in the voluntary workouts. You know, in Green Bay, last few seasons, he's had a retreat. He was playing around with COVID and saying what he did and didn't do with that. He just wasn't there. He went dark, all these things, right? He found ways to not be a part of those workouts despite them having a young receiving core. But he goes to New York. He's like, yo, I'm going to get used to my teammates. See what a breath of fresh air does for you? See what happens when you just get a new change of scenery? All of a sudden, everything just comes back to life. So Aaron Rodgers is showing how much he loves the game instead of y'all just have to assume how much he loves the game. So there's Garrett Wilson out there, his wide receiver. Had said he had to do a double take when he saw him. This is something 20 years from now, 30 years from now, I'll tell my kids I played with Aaron Rodgers, right? Another guy was saying it's a surreal feeling. Sauce Gardner Went to the Knicks game with him, sat front row. They said they were walking in. Aaron Rodgers was like, man, your ass young. He was like, we about to be sitting next to Jessica Alba. And he was like, who that? I was like, wow. And that's funny because the flip happens to me a lot. Like my daughter, she's 24, and she'll tell me about some young rapper, one of them, another YNBs or something, another one of them dudes. How many YNBs are there? And then I was like, what? And she's like, oh, Dad, you're so old, and you're supposed to be cool. You're supposed to be a DJ. I was like, yeah, I just play track 3. I don't know who in the hell made it, but that's where the game is. So Sauce Gardner was just sitting there tripping, saying everybody knew who Aaron Rodgers was. Duh, he's getting a standing ovation. And he said he just got back and had to just look and say, wow, Aaron Rodgers is on my team. Even though Sauce did so much of the recruiting to get Aaron Rodgers. And it's funny because that actually happened to me, but I was like forced into it. Like these guys they were begging for it, asking for it, and it finally came true, right? So you got your Christmas gift you wanted. This, for me, when I got drafted to Buffalo, I just landed in greatness. And it was crazy because my phone call was Marv Levy, which is insane, you know, the great Marv Levy. Hey, Marcellus, like everybody knows that voice. Amazing. And then you get into the locker room, and nobody's in the locker room when you get there as a rookie drafted, right? They make sure the vets are gone on their vacations or working out at home, whatever. The facilities are pretty much naked except the employees who work there. But you go in the locker room, and I remember when I went in the locker room, and this is when Jim Kelly retired. He retired the year I got in, and I heard it was because he didn't want me to sack him in practice because he knew I was going to come around. Yeah, right. He retired that year before I got there. And I walk into the locker room, and the way the Buffalo Bills locker room is, it opens up both ways from the middle, right? So you look to the left, and as soon as you look to the left, the first locker, and all the big-time vets love the locker room and the locker on the edges. Walkway, their locker. So I looked to the left, it was a walkway. Right to the right of it, Andre Reed. I saw Reed 83, and I just ran up to it like, damn, that's dope. So then the next one I was looking for, I'm seeing all these other guys, don't know you. Oh, okay, I heard of him a little bit. Oh, and it said Thomas, 34, Thurman Thomas. I was like, damn. And I was looking in this locker room, and it's so weird because you're looking in the locker room like something gonna be special. No, they got cleats, they got a helmet, they got shoulder pads. It just got their name on it, and you like, ah, like that's them. Then I was like, where's the dude? Where's my guy? And his wasn't next to the edge. His was kind of buried in the middle a little more, a couple off. And it said it. You know what it said? Smith, 78. I was like, that damn Bruce Smith. Now, his locker did look different. He had a lot of his own shoes. Bruce Smith had his own Nike shoe and the commercial with Dennis Hopper, right? And he had his Air Bruces, Air Smiths in there. And I was like, ooh-wee. I'll tell y'all the story what I ended up doing because let's just say he was missing one after I got a hold of him. But it was just crazy looking at all these great players' names and stuff. And I give you my favorite story of being awestruck. Growing up, I was a fan of 2 players the most. Eric Dickerson, because I was a tall, skinny running back, and John Elway, just because that dude was so athletic and he had that rocket launcher. Yeah, he'd just be darting it. Yeah. And so I wanted a John Elway jersey, 11th grade, asked my mama. She said, how much? I was like $75 Foot Locker or whatever. She's like, you got to be kidding. Get out of my face. Move, boy. So I was like, all right, never getting a John Elway jersey. So you fast forward, my first game ever, Buffalo Bills on the road, Mile High Stadium against the Denver Broncos. Come on, y'all. Let's talk. All right, so you get there, you get there the day before, all that blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I can't breathe. And this ain't even, I'm on the field? Nope. I'm just walking off the damn plane. I'm walking on the bus. I'm like, Mile High is for real, Mile High. Like, I was like, this altitude is for real. They was like, wait till you get out there and warm up. Wait till you play tomorrow. And I was like, man, damn. My first game, I can't even breathe, right? I get out there, literally pregame warm-up, so I'm a rookie, first game ever. First time I've ever been on an airplane for a game, because going to Columbia, all of our trips were bus trips. So this is big time. Big steaks on the plane, big shrimp, colossal shrimp. And now you fast forward, I am on the field, can't breathe, and I'm in warm-ups. And something told me while I'm watching us start, I'm like, turn around and see what they doing, what the Broncos are doing for their warm-ups. And no lie, y'all, as I turned and turned, right there, maybe 2 yards away on their 48-yard line. Guess who was there? 7 Elway, looking like that. And I was like, ah! And I just wanted to touch him. I wanted to touch him so bad. I was so awestruck. My guy was right there. Well, that was as close as I got to him in the game, because in the game, I ain't do a damn thing, not even close to a sack. It was amazing. But I feel what these Jets players are going through. Boy, it's nothing better than when you go from a little one to the guy or the poster on your wall is now your homie. Coming up next on Never Shut Up, let's talk about my man Israel. Adesanya got some things to say to people who are criticizing him for clowning the son of Pereira. Well, wait till you hear this clapback. You might be on Adesanya's side. We'll see. That's next on Never Shut Up on Brinks TV and Reach TV. Welcome back to Never Shut Up. It's your boy, Marcellus Wiley, thanking you for your viewership, YouTube, membership, Wiley's World. Man, y'all got to give me some love on that. All right, let's talk about my man, Israel Adesanya, who has no regrets about mocking Alex Pereira's kid. And at first, when I read the headline and before I saw the video, gotta admit, I judged. I was like, hell nah. You ain't got no issue with clowning this dude's son and clowning this son about his daddy? You have no issue with it? I was like, there's nothing that Israel could say that's going to convince me otherwise. And that's why you don't judge a book by its cover, or you don't judge a clip by its thumbnail or its caption. You got to go into it, right? And that's why we're on this show, to go through that discovery process. Well, this is an interesting video. So before I get into it, I want you guys to check it out.
I was just like, where is he? I'm gonna find him. I was like, I see his kid. Then his sister, I think, was holding them, shielding them because they were crying. So I was just like, bang. He's only a kid. I'm like, and the fuck what? If I had a son and he came to the cage after 287 and then started to do that next to Pereira, I'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? Hey, come here. I apologize. I apologize to that man. The guy knocked me out in his home country, and then you see your kid doing that. You don't have the discipline to scold him. And then again, before the 281, you're in your car being like, oh, look what my son did.
Luta contra o Adesanya em São Paulo, quando eu nocauteei ele.
Eu tinha subido no ringue.
If you're not gonna teach your kids manners and respect, I will. So I did him a favor. I did that kid a favor. Now he has a life lesson that he can hold on to forever, and just remember that. I'm glad I did it. Fuck them kids.
Were y'all with me before that video? Now, are you with me now after that video? Goodness. Woo! I need to give me a little dose of Israel in my life. We need to hang a little more, because that was epic. Let's talk about it, kind of like layer it out. Because one of my greatest frustrations is allowing another adult to parent their kid. And let me talk through it. Because it's not my right and it's not my world to go into the relationship between a parent and their child. But don't you feel frustrated when you see an adult, a parent, not doing the right thing? You just want to interrupt it, but you can't tell somebody how to parent. Or if you do, expect some knuckles to fly, or even worse, being real, right? So I've been out 1,000 times. And I've seen a parent just doing the wrong thing. I see a parent just snapping on the kid. Kid is just about to ask for something. Maybe ask to do something. Whatever it is, the kid's just like, all right. But mama or daddy is already on the cliff, already on the edge, and just snap at the kid. And I'm like, ooh. I seen parents do this one. You ever seen this one? They tell their kids to not yell, tell their kids to be quiet while they're yelling. Shut up! Be quiet! Stop yelling! And I'm like, let's start with your ass. How about that? You telling the kids something not to do and you doing it your damn self. I catch that one all the time. Oh, in sports, it's even worse. I told you about the complaining basketball coach I went against last week. And this guy is just complaining. And then next thing you know, I look on the court, guess what his son is doing? Complaining. I was like, it's more than DNA, bro. It's attitude, it's action. So I've seen that. But in this situation, Adesanya, he just broke it down. He's like, look, I got knocked out in his home country, and the little boy comes out and does a mockery of me getting knocked out. That's one thing. And you indiscipline that little dude, should have made him apologize to me. You should have made him show respect. I'm still a warrior like you. You never know. I don't know. Maybe one day the tables will turn like they did. But instead of being a teaching moment for the little boy, it was a moment to pump him up, glorify the fact that his daddy can't be beat in that moment, and then let the little boy just run wild in terms of how much entitlement he thinks he got, how fresh he thinks he is because of his daddy. That's a bad message. I'm the man because of my daddy. You better watch that. So then they're going to UFC 281, and you see some of the promo stuff, and Pereira's pumped. He's like actually proud of the moment that his son mocked Adesanya. What goes around comes around. God dang, I'm glad y'all set it off. And then, boy, they got into that UFC 287, and we all know what happened. And I love the fact that it was so calculated, premeditated, damn it. You right. The ingredients of me whooping your ass is not just how good I am with these hands, how good I am with these feet. It's the fact that I'm also training the brain, and I know what I need to do. I know what buttons to push, and I also know how to really destroy you. So it's one thing to go out there and defeat somebody. It's another thing to destroy them, right? Not only do you get the knockout, you get the victory, but then to add insult to injury, where little man at? Where he at, y'all? Where he at? Oh, there he goes. And you see him over there. And that's why I always tell y'all, don't be scared of these tough people. Even a kid, because that little kid might be the kid at the school that thinks he's tough. I always knew the toughest ones are the weakest on the inside. Why you walk around like this all the time? Why you always showing off? Why you always showing out? It's because in here, it's a couple holes. And Adesanya poked in them holes. Saw that little boy? No matter what, that little boy's already been conditioned to think that everything's about daddy and I can act any old kind of way because of my daddy. And that little boy was crying. As you should, though, because daddy didn't just lose. Daddy got knocked out. I give you that. But then, Adesanya said, oh, that lesson that you didn't learn, it's time to teach her. And bang, hit him with that night-night. Oh, I love that so much. I got to figure out the antidotes in the way I coach, the way I walk around, that I can start putting that, injecting that into my daily routine, because I see thousands of issues all the time with these parents out here. I want to interrupt, I want to intersect, but I also don't want to have to throw these. Help me out, y'all, because I got to get my Adesanya on in my real world. Coming up next on Never Shut Up, oh, Pat Beverley. What you talking about, Willis? What you talking about? He says that 50% of NBA players don't love basketball. Now, do I have a problem with the 50%, or do I have a problem with the fact they don't love basketball? We're going to talk through this because Pat Beverley got the hammer and he's hitting it on the head. That's next on Never Shut Up on Brinks TV and Reach TV. Welcome back to Never Shut Up. It's your boy Marcellus Wiley. Thanking you for that viewership on Brinks TV, and that membership on YouTube, Wiley's World. Let's talk about this. Pat Beverley got us somewhere. Let's get there. He says 50% of NBA players don't love basketball. Now, 50%, I think that was a simple response, a lazy response. I think he could have got a little more specific, but it's hard because you ain't out there taking polls. But 50%, half? Like, what is it, 450 players in the NBA? 30, 15, yep. You're saying what? No. That's too many. 224. No. Hey, I don't say half. There's a number, though. There's a big number, but half, let's get here. Beverley broke down exactly what he meant, comparing the necessary NBA preparation to that of a romantic courtship. Okay, bro. You know me, I love me a dating analogy, so let's hear this. He said, before you even go on the first date, you have to buy flowers, make restaurant reservations, wash the car, etc. Damn. Remember them dates you used to be so pumped you wash your car? Woo, she was fine. You be out there sudding it up. Oh man, that was so good. That date better go good too. He said, quote, now can you have all that energy and put it in basketball? Is it watching film? Is it extra shots? Is it free throws? Is it working on offhand shit? All right. Is it working on shots that you might not even use just to have something in your back pocket? Preparation. How prepared are you? Do you know the coach's philosophy? Do you know what the coaches want from you? Might be different from what you want from you. All right. Then he was asked if he ever had teammates who he felt didn't love the game. And he said something surprising to many, that they're usually the ones who are extremely talented. Beverley talking that real now. Most teammates I know who don't love basketball are the really fucking good ones, are the most skilled ones. Wow, it's the wildest shit in the world. Preparation is different when you got so much skill. You can just show up to the game and get a MF in 30-40 that might work against other teams who aren't that good. But can't do that in the playoffs. Woo, Beverley, okay, said a whole lot here. All right, the love of basketball. First, let's talk about how your love is measured. In sports, it's measured largely by how you prepare. Now, think about it. Even though it's a zero-sum game, there's a winner, there's a loser, right? The ends justify the means. We usually say how much someone loves it, not how they perform. It's how they prepare to perform, right? The overachiever, the guy who's always grinding and sweating and diving for the loose balls. Oh, he loves the game. But the guy who just goes out there and doesn't break a sweat and drops 35, it just comes to him easy, right? Catch that? And a lot of times that was broken down by racial lines. They're still doing that, but it's a little better, but it's still bad. You see a guy who's working hard, and if it's a brother, it's like, oh man, look at with all that talent, look at him. He's just always around the ball. Then you see the white guy, and they just assume he ain't got as much talent. Woo, he's just smart. He knows where to go. He's working as hard as everyone else. And you're like, what the hell did you just say? So the point is, Patrick Beverley's trying to measure the love of basketball by preparation. And I think that is false. I think that's the wrong way to look at it, because it has to be looked at in totality. You may love something, but show your love differently, right? So preparation, if you drop in 35, you're prepared. Do not give me this whole he ain't practice, he ain't do anything, he ain't stretch, he ain't eat right, he ain't go to bed, he ain't do anything and drop 35. No, he may not have done the most, but trust me, he did something. And his way of preparing is different. And I used to catch cats always slipping on that. LaDainian Thompson comes to mind, right? Smooth runner. LaDainian has some of the most hellish workouts ever, and they were never around us. He would do our workouts, and LT in our practice, don't touch him. LT in our practice, all he need to do is see it. Give him the vision reps, going like 30%. No problem. You know why? Because that dude put in that work somewhere else. Bruce Smith comes to mind. Bruce Smith, he would not come to the Monday or Wednesday meeting and look like he was focused. He'd just be in there chilling, like whatever. All right, yeah, Sometimes take a nap, didn't matter, right? You know why? Because he had already seen the entire game plan and film study on that team Sunday night after the game he just played, while that same Sunday night, we at the club. Think about it, y'all. So this whole love of sport based only on preparation, be careful, because a lot of guys prepare differently. Marshall Faulk's another one. I don't want to bore you. So he started there, which I think is a little shaky premise, but I get where he's coming from. He like, a lot of these guys just ball, but they ain't really all into ball, right? All right, got a point there. Then he started talking about the gifted ones, the more talented ones, right? And that's the curse of the gifted. I've talked about that before. Let's break it down. When you're so talented, there is an influence. There is a whispering in your head. There is something telling you you can skip a step, right? It just happens, right? When you're super smart. I see it with my son already. He's really good in math. And all of a sudden, he wants to just go faster and just go through the problems without taking his time. Because when it's a struggle, every little thing counts. But when it's not that hard, oh, Daddy, I know that. And every now and then, I'm like, slow down. You missed that step, right? You didn't carry the two, etc., right? Same thing in sports. Like if you don't go back to square one every time when it comes to preparing, when it comes to you setting your goals, like you got to be foundational with everything. If you don't and you skip that step, all of a sudden, guess what happens? You're going to have to return to that step because somebody didn't skip it that's going to have comparable talent. And that's what Patrick Beverley's talking about. Those guys in the playoffs, you don't get away with that because there's going to be a talented guy on the other team who didn't skip a step, who worked as hard, who prepared, who showed his love for basketball. And it's crazy because a lot of times we call it the sophomore slump. And walk with me here. Sophomore slump usually occurs after someone had a tremendous rookie year, right? Rookie sensation. And then what happens? He gets a break. Now, normally in that break, before he was a rookie, in college, high school, before he grinded because he was like, whoo, I got to be ready. I got to be the man. And then when you see him at the high level, especially the pro level, NBA, NFL, etc., you see that guy have a tremendous rookie year, and then all of a sudden that second year is not as good. I can tell you what happened. Somewhere in that offseason, somebody got to him or he got to himself and heard this. Oh, man, it wasn't that hard. Oh, man, I figured it out. Oh, man, it was tough, but, man, I'm better than these dudes. Woo! It is always going to be a struggle at the highest level. People are always going to reshuffle the deck. The team's going to reshuffle the deck. Players going to try and do better, get better, and you better be on that same mission without skipping steps because somebody somewhere is doing it the right way, and you're going to mess around and find out the wrong time that dude didn't skip a step. So when I saw all this, I was like, man, did I witness any of this? Absolutely. Like being in the locker room, there were times where I didn't go through the whole game plan, let alone let me talk about somebody else. Like there were times where I was like, I ain't playing. Did I love football? Absolutely. There were times where when I was like, I got this. Like I don't even need to go through that anymore. I got this. Do you got it? And then in the game, it didn't work. I was like, damn, I should have went through that a little more with him, right? Like everyone has that in your workplace. Same thing. Like you just kind of cut a corner or two, calling it efficiency. Like I'm being more efficient, being more effective. I don't need to do all those little things. Well, maybe you do. Maybe you don't. But the measurement of that shouldn't always be you don't love what you're doing because in the pursuit of being effective and efficient, sometimes it may look from the outside that you're not all in. So thought it was a real interesting discussion because of Patrick Beverley saying half the league doesn't love basketball. Nah, because I think most of those guys are uberly talented, right? But there are levels to it. And they actually want to make sure they are at their best in performance. So being your best at performance, sometimes, be real, means you ain't practicing as hard as you should, as hard as someone else thinks you need to. So long as it turns out the right way, who are we to sit back and really complain? All right, y'all know how we finish every show. We finish it with a Wileyism. I am not a product of my circumstance. I am a product of my decisions. Yes. Come on, y'all. We all born in different situations. I obviously, y'all know my upbringing. I was born in a bad neighborhood, and it was kind of broke, very broke. And I've also seen and had my kids in nice neighborhoods, right? The kids that I have now, they weren't born where I was born. And they are not guaranteed to make anything of themselves. I would love to say that. My ego says, go ahead and say it. You're their parent. Of course they're going to be great. But that's based on their decisions, right? Let's be real. Those prisons are full of people who were raised by parents who thought they had a good kid at one time. Seriously. No matter what comes from it, decisions. Because you can have the worst parents in the world. And I'll give you a story. My best friend, my ace, woo! He didn't grow up with his mama or his daddy in the home. Raised by his grandparents. and all his cousins and nieces. It was like 13 of them in like a 3-bedroom. It was crazy, right? Crazy. Dude was a straight A student, valedictorian, had thousands of dollars of scholarships, went to Cornell University, graduated with 2 degrees as a Wall Street executive. Meanwhile, little Johnny over there, born in a nice neighborhood with both parents there, is strung out somewhere, right? So you're not a product of your circumstances, product of your decisions. Always remember, you can be greater than your greatest excuse. No matter what surrounds you, you can be more than that. All right, y'all. That'll do it for today's episode of Never Shut Up. Got my chalice here, got my shirt here. Y'all can support on Brinks TV. You can support on Marcellus Wileyshop.com. I know y'all enjoyed this show, because I did too. Love y'all, man. I see you in them comments. Let's get at it, boy. Talk to you later. Go.